First and foremost, we're going to talk about an event that happened on January the 29th, and you covered it. It was a running gun battle between two carloads of gang members. That case has been under intensive investigation by Detective Walsh and his colleagues of the homicide team, and we met with and worked with the state attorney's office preparing charges. And this week, the state attorney's office took the case to the grand jury, and these three gangbangers were indicted for first-degree murder. Now, let me tell you what's important about this. We've said over and over that they watch these social media sites, they listen to this music, and it's real cool to carry guns, to have guns, to be gangbangers. But these three people's life has changed forever because of their outrageous, criminal, felonious, murdering conduct. So what's significant? Jermaine Hawthorne, he's 16 years old. He's 16 years old and facing the rest of his life in prison. Michael Gene Charles is 17 years of age. He's facing the rest of his life in prison. Antonio Bernard, known as TJ, is 21. He's facing the rest of his life in prison, as they should be, because they took a young person's life. Let me take you back and give you some of the details. It's Saturday evening, about 9:30, at the bowling alley on 542 East Winter Haven. Our three suspects show up in a stolen blue Lexus out of Hillsborough County. Why did they show up? Because they're waiting for the opposing gang. Now, we're not telling the gang names because we don't want to market for them, but they got there about 9:30. So about 10:30, 11 o'clock, the opposing gang members showed up. That's right. There were four of them. Because they're victims, we can't give you their names, so we'll tell you that one was a Hispanic male, 17, one was a black male, 20, one was a black male, 17, and one was a black male, 26. He was ultimately the driver. So understand that our suspects show up about 9:30. Our victims show up about 10:30 or 11. They wait in the parking lot in the stolen vehicle for the victims who are in the bowling alley. They actually make a run at the victims at one point in time in the parking lot, and it appears as if they were going to attack them there in the parking lot. However, another vehicle got in their way, so they patiently waited. Now it's about 1 o'clock in the morning. Our four victims leave in the Toyota Camry, a silver Toyota Camry, and they go onto the Buckeye Loop Road, which travels kind of north direction. And as it makes a curve back in toward the city of Winter Haven, it turns into MLK. As soon as our victim vehicle pulls out, our suspect vehicle follows them up Buckeye Loop Road. As they make the curve back to the west, going into Florence Villa, which is a community in Winter Haven, the suspects pass the silver vehicle. At that moment in time, Michael Gene Charles is the driver. Jermaine Hawthorne has a 9mm handgun. He's only 16 years old. He's got a 9mm handgun. TJ, who's 21, has an AK-type assault rifle. They opened fire on the silver Camry. All 4 victims in the silver Camry are struck by many, many, many rounds of ammunition as they're shot. They're shot. One of our victims, who's only 17 years of age, loses a leg. They had to amputate it. They were shot several times. Another one of our victims, who's a black male 20, lost his life. He was murdered. He was shot multiple times. The driver was shot. The 4th victim was shot. One victim returned fire and ultimately struck Antonio. They continued on as they pass, and they drop Antonio, known as TJ, at the hospital. And the investigation begins. We arrive, we've got 4 victims shot and 1 dead at the scene. Kids. They're all kids. And they're all gang members. We've got the others that are shot up significantly. The investigation goes on. Once again, we actually investigated this for a period of time to try to sort out the details. We had arrested some of these folks early on for tampering with evidence, those kinds of charges, but now they're charged with what they should be charged with, and that's first-degree murder. The investigation's still underway. They dumped the guns. We don't know where they are. We certainly would like to have them. If you know where they are and you call Crime Stoppers, 1-800-226-TIPS. When you call Crime Stoppers and tell us where those guns are, when they match up to the crime scene, we will make sure that you get a reward that is far exceeds the value of those firearms. Are there any questions about this case?
I recall when this case happened, there was a car that was found that was burned up about 45 minutes later that you were looking into whether that was connected.
Yes. Absolutely unrelated at this time. We find that suspicious because it was in the area, but it was not related to this at all.
How frustrating is it, and it probably goes without saying, that you have to continue to have these types of press conferences when situations like this continue to happen?
Well, you know what's remarkable, our crime rate is remarkably low in this county, at a 50-year low. But these kids are shooting up each other. They're having drive-by shootings at their houses. They're having running gun battles in the street, and we're not accepting it. In fact, I haven't formally announced, but we've started a gang task force. We're also joined by the Auburndale Police Department, the Haines City Police Department, the Lake Wales Police Department. They've donated officers to us. I have sworn them in as special deputies. And we are focused on educating the parents of these gangbangers so there's no mistake. We're sitting on the couch and in the living rooms with the parents of these gangbangers saying they're in a gang, they're associated with a gang. We would rather see them arrested as opposed to dead or locked up for first-degree murder, and we are going to make them a project as long as they violate the law and are actively part of the gang and actively doing drive-by shootings. That team just came together, and we'll be talking more about them later on, okay? They've been working just a little while. Any more questions on this one?
If I remember correctly, one of those 3 men were dropped off at the hospital, is that right?
TJ. He was shot by the one victim through the chest. The victim that shot him was actually struck like 4 times with gunfire. There was a hell of gunfire down on this victim's vehicle. They waited hours for them in the parking lot in order to kill all of them. Fortunately, 3 of the victims survived, 1 didn't. They're all kids, 16, 17, 20. The one driver was 26. And by the way, in the suspect vehicle, there's one person we've still not identified. Once we identify him, he too can very likely pick up a first-degree murder charge. So far, he's been totally under the radar screen. A call to Crime Stoppers will get you a whole lot of money to identify who the 4th suspect is. Think about it, family and friends. If Jermaine, Michael, or TJ is your family member, and they're going to prison for the rest of their life for first-degree murder, shouldn't the 4th guy in the car get to go with them? Why is he getting off scot-free? Are y'all really going to hide him? Are you really going to hide him when all your buds, your family members, your friends are going to prison? Think about it. We're not going to let kids shoot kids in this county. You do it, you're going to prison for a very long time or life. We don't care that you're 16 or 17 or 19 or 18. You're not even supposed to have a gun, much less shooting other kids with it. It's not happening. You're going to find out this is not fun and games, and the prison system's real, and we're coming after you. Any questions on that one?